Pleaser podcast. I am your host, Corie, and I am so glad we will be sitting here together for the next little while. So thanks for being here and lending me your ears, lending me your courage, your acceptance. So many good things. So there's a conversation that I want to have, and it's one that has been so under the surface. I haven't actually put words to the conversation. It's just been thoughts and feelings. So we're going to see how this plays out. I'm not promising that this is going to be pretty. And that is because, well, I think the conversation is very nuanced, and that's where I am maybe having a little bit of trepidation on like how to launch in or how to just come right out with it. But the topic is intentions. And I guess to just cut right to the chase in how intentions relate to people pleasing, it is a pattern of behavior, sort of a cloak of people pleasing that I have utilized time and time again, where when in a situation where I have maybe been misunderstood, where maybe someone disagrees with me, I've upset someone, I've been challenged, I've been questioned, I will grab out of my back pocket this safety net of intentions. So what I mean by that is, in any one of those examples I just provided, my reaction, my response is, oh, that wasn't my intention. Oh, I intended to do this. What is that saying that I say all the time? Assume positive intent. And I don't want to necessarily demonize this, because obviously there are going to be so many circumstances, and that's why I said it's nuanced, where intentions are great. Positive intentions are great. Good intentions are great. Assuming positive intentions, that all can be great. However, the way in which I'm using them, it's tactical. And it is to get myself off the hook. It's to avoid conflict. It's to avoid discomfort. And it's kind of shady. It's kind of manipulative. So how do I even get into this? But I guess I'm into it. I'm just going to keep rolling. Because even though maybe that is true, what it is doing is it's like skirting around things, and it's because of people pleasing that I don't want to upset anyone. I don't want to have a strong stance. I don't want to have a strong opinion. I don't want to isolate myself. I don't want to isolate others. And it's actually just masking what I really believe, what my values truly are, what my opinions truly are. And it kind of goes into this pattern of how people pleasers are exactly that. They're trying to just appeal to the masses. They're trying to be very easy. They're trying to be very neutral, very diplomatic, kind of like a one size fits all. Like I can bend in any direction you want me to. Oh, you have this opinion? Well, that's my opinion too. Oh, you disagree with me? Oh, well then you actually just misunderstood me. What I was really trying to say is whatever you're trying to say. And that is something I have been encountering quite a bit, and it's something that I'm actually it's growing to be uncomfortable, which is why I am actually encountering it more and more because I'm kind of realizing these patterns. And I can sit here and I can be really really honest and admit that I have been afraid to stand up for what I really believe in. I've been afraid to even really articulate what it is that I really believe in because in doing so, I'm I'm drawing a line in the sand. I am creating a division potentially. And in my people-pleasing mind, that's scary, that's dangerous, that's isolating, that's lonely, and I really want to work on this. So, where I've encountered this the most recently is through my advocacy for Palestine and through some of the anti-genocide, pro-Palestine content that I have shared and the opinions I have shared, my own and those that I align with. And, especially at the beginning when I was still trying to get a handle on things, when I was like, okay, I'm trying to understand what's going on here, I was really afraid to take a stance because I felt as though I hadn't done enough research. I hadn't read enough scholarly articles. I hadn't listened to both sides. I hadn't weighed both sides, like from a very balanced, even approach. And I'm being very vulnerable here. I just want to really put that out there that right now I'm feeling like this this feels scary to just speak to so openly because of what I'm talking about. So just giving myself a moment and some permission here. And I think that what I've just described, like this feeling like we need to know everything before we can have an opinion, is what keeps so many people silent. Because we think, oh, like we haven't scraped the internet for every piece of information. So until I know absolutely everything about all sides, I don't know enough. And it was I felt very vulnerable in finally coming forward and being like, you know what? I don't know everything. I never will. We are dealing with centuries of historical, what's the word? Conflict. So there's that. I can give myself some grace to say, you know what, Corie, you don't actually need to know hundreds of years of context to lean into what feels right and what feels wrong in your gut. And when I gave myself permission to tune into my feelings, to then formulate some opinions, it actually got really simple. I began to not worry about the facts and more about the feelings, more about the values, more about the person I want to be in this world. And that became really clear to me. However, that didn't mean that I wasn't met with some resistance. I wasn't challenged. I wasn't, it doesn't mean that people weren't approaching me with questions. And that truly sent me into like fight or flight. When I finally had enough courage to start like sharing my opinions and sharing the opinions of those who I align with, and then I was challenged on that, I had a full body reaction. It was like panic. It was busy head, busy brain, it pulled me out of the present and it got me into this like, oh God, I gotta like draft my response. I have to make sure they're okay. I have to make sure I haven't upset them. Like it was that like very visceral, like, oh my God, am I in trouble? Have I offended someone? And this is when I started to create these like big explanations as to why I feel this way and what I intended to convey and what I think, if I was sharing someone else, I'd be like, but I think they intended to do this. And it was so much people pleasing and so much fear around being rejected, having someone disagree with me, having someone have a different opinion of me. And it truly was an exercise in standing in my own beliefs, standing in my own values, and where I still have work to do is around being a lot more comfortable with like hearing others' opinions and saying, hey, you know what? That's great that you're able to share your opinion. That's great that you have found words for your opinion. I'm doing the same, and we may not align here. And that doesn't necessarily mean we have to lose respect for one another. That doesn't mean we have to be in conflict. It truly isn't about convincing the other, because I don't think it really works that way. The only efforts that I can make in that is just to continue sharing perspectives that I align with and hope that, others are doing the same and that we're all just getting informed in the way that we learn and receive information. And I have to just trust the universe on that one. I can't take that on. It comes back to boundaries. It comes back to preserving the energy that we have and using it in the ways that feel most purposeful and in the people that we want to expend that energy into. The other thing that I think intentions are kind of like, they're kind of weaponized, and that's a strong word, but they're kind of used as like, I don't know, like if that was really your intention, then show me. Don't just use words, like it's one of those situations where actions speak louder than words. It kind of feels like a mask, because it's almost like, oh, you've misunderstood, like almost gaslighting in a way. Again, these are not fully formed thoughts, but this is what is coming to me right now. When someone comes to you in conversation and is maybe upset or confused, and you meet them with like, oh, well, that wasn't my intention. It's like, well, that doesn't necessarily take their hurt away, their confusion away, their pain away. That kind of just feels like a band-aid of like, oh, you just had it all wrong. You misunderstood. I think if we're saying these things like, oh, that wasn't my intention, it does require more conversation and an opportunity for us as those ones with these intentions to be like, okay, maybe I need to work on that delivery, or, maybe that isn't something that I communicated properly. Like, this is what I went into thinking, like, these were my intentions, my internal intentions. However, I didn't convey that properly. And obviously, it didn't land well. And I need to reconsider. I need to reconsider my approach. I need to reconsider the language I used, the actions that followed. It's not enough to just say, like, oh, well, I didn't intend to hurt your feelings. My intentions weren't to be X, Y, and Z. And so this can kind of move in and out of just people pleasing too, because I think, people pleasing is very much about like self-preservation and kind of like making sure that everybody likes us, making sure that we're very palatable, that we can blend in and fit in everywhere. But I do think that intentions can be really used like in a cruel way. And honestly, like, people pleasing can have adverse impacts on relationships. So just because we have these good intentions, just because we want everybody to like us, like, those behaviors are going to begin to be transparent. People are going to start to see through it. What can I say about that? I guess I did talk about this a little bit in a previous episode, where it was like, if you're just trying to have everybody like you, that doesn't necessarily mean you're likable. And that's because people are smart. People are intuitive. People are receptive. Like, they can kind of pick up on, like, your people pleasing is actually just trying to have your own needs met. And when I'm like sucking up to someone, it's not even about them. It's just about how I want them to see me. So really, it's quite selfish. So again, this isn't to criticize people pleasers, because hi, I'm the president of the club, or trying to be. But it's to begin understanding, like, A, why are we doing this? And B, is it actually really giving us what we want? Is it fulfilling the needs we have? It's something to really think about. So I'm a little all over the map with this conversation, and I knew I would be, because this is just stream of consciousness, baby. But I think in talking about intentions, I'm trying to call in this kind of scapegoat, and to begin really encouraging us, myself included, to not just think of us setting a good intention as an easy way out. You can say it, but it needs to be followed up with some self-reflection, possibly a tweaking of our behaviors, our communication, our language. And yeah, I think it's good for us to also start to unpack our people pleasing and seeing it as, it's not a very desirable trait for ourselves or those around us. It doesn't feel good. And we may think we're being just everybody's best friend, or accommodating everybody, we're meeting everyone's needs. It's not what they're asking for from us. They're not needing that, especially in that way. They may need support, they may need help, but people-pleasing behaviors are selfish and self-serving. So you may be, as a result, also meeting one of their needs, but you're kind of doing it in a way that it's not actually about them. So if it's not actually about them, then why are you doing it? Oh, you're doing it to take care of your own needs? Is there another way to take care of your needs? I mean, I think I have more questions after this than I do answers. And that's a good place to start. And I think for me this week, my therapist encouraged me to do a bit more journaling. And I think this could be a good segue into some journaling of just like unpacking some of these patterns and behaviors. Like, why is it so important that everybody likes me? Why is it so important to fit in? Why is it so painful when someone disagrees with me? Why is it so scary when someone disagrees with me? Yeah. Lots to think about here, folks. And so I hope that was somewhat easy to follow. Hope you're just here with me and just letting it roll through. Because I think, with a lot of these deeply embedded behaviors and patterns, it is very jumbled and interconnected, and it's not just like, this is the way I am a people pleaser, or this is why. Like, it's a web. It's complicated. You may notice that you have certain behaviors with certain people pleasing behaviors with certain people, and not others. I know I do. Yeah, I know that I can really ramp up my people pleasing with strangers. Weird. Yeah, and with family. And then there are other times where I do not care what people think about, how they think about me, how I'm being perceived. That's interesting. I need to dig into that a little bit more. Like, when am I not afraid to use my voice? When am I not afraid to have a strong stance? When am I not afraid to stand up for myself, to speak my mind? What are those environments? Who are in those crowds or those groups of people? Yeah, I'm gonna end it there, because if I add anything else, I'll just go forever. And we need to keep the episodes coming. So thank you again for being here. Thank you for listening. I have been getting texts and some messages with some really wonderful feedback, and I mean, that just fills this people pleaser's heart to know that I'm pleasing you. But really, truly, I love the conversation. I love to hear your experiences. If you have any ideas for, like, if there's a certain thing that shows up for you and you want to see if I can maybe expand on it, I would love to hear any ideas, any feedback. So the best place to reach me is at peoplepleaser.pod on Instagram. So that's at peoplepleaser, all one word, .pod. You can send me a message, comment on one of the posts, just find me, just get in there somehow. And yes, so that's it for today. Once again, my name is Corie, and this is the People Pleaser Podcast. And thank you for being here. We'll catch you on the next episode. Bye.